In this video, I want to have a really honest chat about 4 ways you might be triggering your avoidant partner. Now, there is something that we need to talk about first, especially I am talking to those of you that lean more towards the anxious side. I just want to take a moment before we talk about how perhaps your partner triggers your avoidant or you trigger your partner's avoidance. I want to take that moment just to say that your needs do count as well. Sometimes we go looking for this kind of information so that we can please our partner, and in the process we forget ourselves. So if you are looking for this information and also taking care of yourself and what you need, then I think that is great. You need to have that balance of thinking about both of you, but definitely anxious attachers, you count as well. Before we talk about these 4 ways that you could be triggering someone that has those avoidant tendencies, I want to introduce myself. So I'm Carly Ann. I'm an attachment and trauma-informed coach and founder of the Attachment Recovery Gym. The Attachment Recovery Gym is an online membership that supports you to truly exercise your most secure self. You can join our community when you have reached that point where you know a lot of the information about how to change, yet you can still see yourself defaulting back into old, painful patterns. If you are new here to this channel, then welcome to our community. If you are returning or you are a member, then welcome back. And members, here is your reminder to fill out today's daily attachment diary. So the first trigger for us to discuss that can be quite a lot for people that lean more towards the avoidant dismissive is physical contact. Now, yes, I'm usually talking here, doesn't have to be, but about romantic relationships. Now, thinking about love languages as well, and thinking about if you're someone who can be quite anxious, it can be that you feel loved and show affection through physical touch. Now, sometimes for people with avoidant attachment, for a reason perhaps known to them, certainly individual to them, is that physical contact might not feel safe. Physical contact can feel too much for them for whatever reason. We don't need to speculate on that. But there can be a real difference between how much physical contact you want and your partner wants. And when somebody experiences their partner not wanting that kind of physical contact, that can feel really rejecting. And often we make it mean something about us. But actually, for someone with those avoidant tendencies, that's not the case. It's not about you. It's their own experience. And when they're activated and they deactivate, that can really happen when they're feeling like someone is in their space, or they're feeling like someone is touching and they're there. It can be sex, it can be cuddles, it can be holding hands. It's really difficult for you as well on that receiving end, and I don't want to dismiss that. It might just be that you take some time to observe what they're comfortable with. Your partner might get more and more comfortable with that physical touch. It's just that it might need to be in their time, and you can have this conversation with them. You can observe it and just make those shifts. But definitely physical contact can be something that can cause someone without choice to freeze, to feel like, I need you away from me. And it's not about you, it's about whatever perhaps they're recalling in their body or that is coming up for them. But it's definitely a trigger. Another trigger that we can see quite often that can, lead to somebody pushing away or pulling back is quite demanding behaviour. And anyone can do this, but we do see it a lot when the anxious attachment is activated. Their behaviours might be asking lots of questions, wanting lots of immediate contact, needing that reassurance. Demanding behaviour can be something that feels like a lot for anyone, but especially for someone who leans more towards those avoidant tendencies. So if they observe that in their partner or in someone that they're getting to know, consciously or unconsciously, that's going to get their back up. They're going to have a reaction there. And quite often that is to keep this at arm's length because this is triggering. They're having these alarm bells. Often that demanding behavior is coming from your own insecurities. So if that's something that you fall into or your partner falls into, it's a difficult conversation to have, to find that balance. But definitely if you can reduce that level of demand, then that's really going to help the avoidant person. Before I share the next two triggers, I want to take a moment and ask you to like this video and subscribe to this channel. The reality is that YouTube loves it, and that's how this specific video gets out to more people that are struggling with this topic. So people just like you and just like me that need to hear this, they're more likely to get that if you could take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I know that I would be very grateful for that as well. So the next trigger that I want to mention is when this person feels criticized in any way. Usually there is already a deep belief of being unlovable and not being good enough, and perhaps they criticize themselves, or certainly they might have experienced being criticized in the past. We do see that a lot with people that lean towards those avoidance strategies. They tend to have experienced somewhere in their life some criticism, and they've internalized that. And that means it doesn't take very much for them to perceive someone or something in their environment to be criticizing them. And when that happens, that triggers them to pull away, to shut down, again, to keep this at arm's length. And it's difficult if you're trying to share and you don't mean to be critical. You do want to take some responsibility, though, if you are being critical, because again, that's that demanding behavior. And every situation is very nuanced, so we have to look at it like that. You might ask this person about what is the best way to communicate with them if you observe it. You might have these kind of honest conversations, but certainly being mindful of your language, how you approach things, that's really, really going to help, because anything we can do just to make sure that this person knows that we're not blaming, we're not criticizing them, and we're not making them take full responsibility, that can be really important, because otherwise they're taking that themselves. And if they think that you're giving that to them as well, it can be extremely triggering. The fourth trigger for us to talk about and really consider, again, it does come into when we're looking at that anxious avoidant dynamic, although it is important for anyone to consider. We see this being a very difficult balance when one person is anxious and one person is avoidant. And this is when it comes to spending time together. Attachment difficulties are very much about proximity. Someone with avoidant, they can feel triggered by spending too much time together or being close to someone. And someone with an anxious attachment can feel very triggered and unloved when there is space and when they're apart. And so you can see how that is going to create some conflict from time to time. I'm not saying that I've hopefully already made clear, this isn't about them being more important. This is just about the fact that you're here looking at what triggers avoidant people. So we have to be honest about this. And they need to still have their independence. You still need to have your independence. There needs to be some space. Relationships grow and are so much better when there is time to come together and have space apart. Now, there does need to be, again, that big word balance, because yes, we do also want to support the avoidant person to feel a bit safer when you come together, but you just want to be making sure that you're observing how often do they want to see you? How often do they need to be with their friends or have time alone? Again, not making it about you, but just being aware that if they feel like you're wanting all of their time, or if they're feeling quite like you're always asking, when am I seeing you next? That can be really triggering. And we know that that can then lead to pulling away, shutting down. So yes, again, reiterating how much you want to see them is important and your needs count, but it can be really activating for them if they feel like you want all of their time. So I hope that you have found this useful. You might be looking at, well, how do I do this? Though I understand that space is important, but how do I manage that within myself? Well, that's why I want to take a moment to talk to you a bit more about the attachment recovery gym. Whether you are relating to the person who is more anxious or more avoidant, the Attachment Recovery Gym is an online membership space where you can take everything that you've been learning and put it into practice. If you have a reoccurring relationship issue or a specific trigger where you feel stuck, fear not. The Attachment Recovery Gym marries 3 core components that support change. That is community, accountability, and education. When you become a member today, you get immediate access to a library of resources and a schedule of classes that strengthens your secure self, just like you are working on your physical health.